everybody, my name is Nina. Hope everyone is feeling well. Right now, as many of you can see, I'm on the bird path, and today we're gonna go on a nature walk around camp. So whenever you're moving around camp, we have so many different kinds of land on camp. We have wetlands, we have deciduous forests, we have evergreen forests, and then you can make a whole loop where we go in and out through those things. So let's go. Camp was actually selected to be part of a wetlands restoration project. And as we continue to walk down the bird path, we'll get to see what that really looks like. Part of that wetlands restoration project is taking out the invasive species and replacing them with native species. So behind me, does anyone know what this is? This is privet. Is privet invasive or is it native? Do you know? So privet is actually an invasive species here, and so as we continue down the bird path, you'll see there are sections of our wetlands where we've been taking up that invasive species and replacing it with like native trees and other native shrubs and bushes. But this is a section of camp where we haven't taken out the invasive species yet. So the privet as well as rose hips, those are invasive species that we're looking to remove through the wetlands restoration project that we have going on. So one of the best spots on camp to sit and just watch and listen to the world around you is right here at the BB range. So behind me we have a section of the bird path and all of this little wetlands over here, and if we listen really closely, you can hear lots of different birds. How many different birds did you hear? I think I heard at least 10. So, one of the first plants to come in the spring is called, do you know? This is called skunk cabbage. If you guessed skunk cabbage, you are correct. Congratulations. So these guys are native to this part of Pennsylvania. And they're actually toxic. If I were to touch it, I wouldn't want to touch my face or lick my fingers or like ingest anything because it can make me really sick. But these guys, they get their name from a really gross kind of like skunky smell that comes from them if you were to accidentally step on them or if they were to get damaged. That's one of their defense mechanisms against predators. If it smells bad, animal's probably not going to want to eat it. So that's one way that they survive. So here on camp we have a wide variety of different trees, lots of different species of plants all over camp, and right behind me is actually a mulberry tree, surprisingly. It's one of the biggest mulberry trees that a lot of people have seen, but it is in fact a mulberry tree, and during the spring a lot of our birds like to come and feast off of the berries that are hanging out on top, but this is one of the many different species of trees that we have here on camp. So the next tree that we're going to meet is this poplar tree. And so if you're curious, if you have the opportunity to walk around, if you're close to a natural area and want to go identify trees in your local area, you can actually go online and print off information on how to identify trees. So right here I have this from Virginia Tech. It's an online information tool that you can use to help to decide what kind of tree it is. So this is the sheet for a poplar tree. Poplar trees are known for being very tall, very fast growing trees, and they grow very, very straight. So if you look right here, this section of tree from the ground up to where you see the first few branches over there, this is called the bowl. And so poplar trees are noted for being super straight and for having this barren bowl. There's not a lot of branches down over. The branches can be up to 100 feet up in the air. And this is a great example of what the seed pods look like. They look just like this, and they actually break apart into little wings so that they can float away in the wind. To my right over here is a river birch tree. It's a young river birch tree that we planted last spring, and it seems to be doing pretty well. These guys are known for how well they do in wet environments, so it's perfect for our wetlands. now my friend here is Grandmother Willow. Anyone know what kind of tree she is? If you guessed black willow, then you would be correct. Grandmother Willow is a black willow, and she is a landmark here at camp. If you ever are walking down the bird path during the springtime, you can come and visit her. So now this is a birch tree. One way that you can tell is by the way that their bark kind of shrivels up and wraps around like this. That's one of their identifying features. And their bark is really, really good for starting fires. So if you ever want to start a fire, birch tree bark. Next stop on our tour, we have a young oak. They are a hardwood. They are found in deciduous forests, and they are very much valued for the wood that they produce. So this is a young little sapling in front of me. So now here is a very useful plant to come across, particularly now if you are in your grocery stores and you're having a very, very hard time finding some toilet paper. If you get very desperate and you see this growing out and about, you can actually use this as toilet paper. If you haven't already guessed, this is called lamb's ear, and it's a very soft plush leaf, and it grows very, very well here on our campus. So one of our next deciduous friends here is a black cherry tree. And the way that you can tell it's a black cherry tree is that by looking at the bark, you see it kind of has like these segmented like little bits of deep dark red, sometimes black bark. That's an indicator that it's a cherry tree. Now if you look in front of me, sort of behind me, we have a beautiful American chestnut tree. These are actually an endangered species of tree, and this is actually on a registry to acknowledge that this is an American chestnut tree. If you look very closely, you can see there is this fungus that's growing on the outside of this tree that's known as blight. And it's said that the blight was brought in through the introduction of the Chinese chestnut tree to our environment. But this is a fruit-producing tree, and the chestnuts look something like this. They have very prickly little spines on the outside of their seed to protect the inside from any sort of animals that might want to eat it. And it's very effective. Notice that I don't want to hold it in my hand because it will hurt. But what they do is they open up and, hello, it's already poking me. Release the seeds. This is kind of decomposing, but the seeds release when they open up to start new little tiny trees. So when you're walking through the forest, you'll see a lot of different kinds of vines creeping and crawling their way up trees. Sometimes you'll see Virginia creeper, sometimes you'll see poison ivy, it could be a grapevine, but how do you tell the difference between something that's harmless and something that could hurt you? So to my right, this, what do you think it is? This is poison ivy. So the one way that you can tell that it's poison ivy is by looking at the base of this vine over here. See how there's all these tiny little fibers that are coming off of the base? That indicates that this is poison ivy. And yes, when it looks like this, it still can really irritate your skin. So I'm gonna stay far away from it. But this is a great example of poison ivy and something that you should stay away from. We've seen poison ivy and now Virginia creeper. Right here, this is a great example of how you can tell the difference between Virginia creeper and poison ivy. If you look along the edges of this vine over here, every couple of segments, you get 5 fingers of little vein, and then it breaks. And then you get 5 more fingers, and then it breaks. And so it doesn't, while the poison ivy grows hairy throughout the entirety of the vine, the Virginia creeper will have like little arms and legs that come out every so often. Behind us, we have a bunch of eastern hemlock trees, which is the state tree of Pennsylvania, and they look beautiful this time of year, so let's go take a look. So amongst all of these evergreens and then this black cherry tree over here, we also have this beautiful, massive beech tree behind me. So if you look, you can see it has that very smooth bark and almost kind of like a rippled, veiny texture along it, like you're looking at like an arm or something. That's that beech tree over there. front of me, I have a young Sassafras tree. You can tell by looking at the color, it's kind of like got this richer olive green with some brown and red tones in it. And if I were to take a little bit of some older growth back here and snap it, this is a dead branch, you can smell it. Some people say they smell Fruit Loops. I think I smell lemon. If you ever have the opportunity to smell a sassafras tree, what do you smell? This right here is a sycamore tree. We can tell by looking at its very distinctive multicolored bark. See how it kind of comes up away in these little like splotchy patterns with this really rich like tan and green and brown and gray coloring. This is distinctively a sycamore tree. And their seed pods look like little balls like this, and they break up to make all these little fibrous flyaways. All right, everybody, that is it for our nature walk. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like Campfitch content and want to continue to see our videos, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and turn on that little notification bell so you can see whenever we post. Fair winds and following seas until we see each other again. Thanks, Campfitch.